Maybe I am turning into an old white guy. All right, Stephen A. Smith. KD's not happy.
Here's where Mike Wilbon didn't go into the details that all of us covering the NBA are fully aware of. Kevin Durant in Phoenix is a problem. It is a problem. We don't see it because the stats are there. Him and Booker average 27 points per game and what have you. But they say Kevin Durant is never happy. They say that he went more than a month without even talking to the head coach. They say that he doesn't look happy there. And all he wants to do is play when the game starts and tip-off time arrives. But when it comes to ingratiating yourself with your teammates and getting along with everybody and stuff like that, he just lives in his own world. He's not hated. He's not despised. He's not doing anything negative. He's not being somebody that's two-faced and behind people back doing stuff. No, that's not who Kevin Durant is. But keeping to himself. Why does that matter? It's similar to what he was doing in Golden State before he ultimately departed, which is what was driving Draymond Green crazy, which is why they ultimately got into it on the court in that Clippers game and what have you. Because you hear stuff, you hear about the level of unhappiness, et cetera, and you get tired of it because when you don't want to talk and when you don't want to answer questions, you don't want to lead in a very visible way, well, that forces other people to have to step up and take on a level of culpability that they don't want to stomach. And so because of all of that stuff, that's the untold stuff that's going on in Phoenix. There's more than that. Make no mistake. It's not all on Kevin Durant, but that's a big, big part of it.
Shasky.
I mean, has KD ever been happy?
I think he has.
When he won the MVP and gave it to his mom?
Yeah, I think he was happy under Scott Brooks.
You think?
I think he was happy under.
Well, then why did he leave?
It's time. Couldn't win there. It's Oklahoma City. I mean, he gave 8 years of his life to Oklahoma City. When he was drafted in Seattle, he thought he was playing in Seattle.
Well, also, didn't he not like Brooks' system there when he was there? It was.
I mean, his system got the Thunder to the finals. They got to the NBA finals with Scott Brooks. And then Billy Donovan, they had some great teams. And he won an MVP.
Is he going to be happy with Coach Bud?
Who knows?
No, that's a no.
Who knows?
Let's come on.
I mean, Vogel, obviously,
he wasn't happy in OKC.
No, he wasn't.
He was partially happy.
I think he was partially happy in OKC. Come on.
Okay, so he's partially happy in OKC, partially happy in Golden State, clearly unhappy in Brooklyn, unhappy again in Phoenix.
He was happy at first. But, I mean, are we even believing this, though? Because he's going to come out on Twitter and say it's cap. Why do you do this, Kevin Durant? We should be asking this with LeBron James. Is LeBron ever happy anywhere?
Well, I just think that
all these guys,
but
man.
Kevin has a history of it. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire.
I mean, they all have a history. Harden, Westbrook, Kyrie. I mean, these superstars get on my nerves sometimes, man.
KD has played with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kyrie Irving, James Harden again, Ben Simmons, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Like, how many All-Stars does this guy have to play with and not get along with them?
I mean, it wasn't his fault James Harden wanted out of Brooklyn.
I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm just saying there is a common denominator.
It wasn't his fault that Kyrie Irving went off the deep end for a little bit in Brooklyn.
Do you still want him?
Who?
KD.
Hell yeah, I'll take Kevin Durant. Hell yeah, I'll take Kevin Durant.
All right, so I'm going to make you choose. Both are equal. You're giving up the same amount for both. Would you rather have LeBron or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking.
You think KD has more left in the tank than LeBron?
Yeah, I'm taking KD.
Why?
He may not be as effective as LeBron James, but you ain't getting much. You're not getting as much baggage as you are with LeBron James. Kevin Durant, we're psychoanalyzing him, saying, "Oh, he's not happy. He's not happy." Well, look at LeBron James. He's passive aggressive. He's talking about coaches, payroll. He's wearing Knicks towels at their Madison Square Garden game, knowing he's trolling.
I mean, this guy just went a month without talking to his coach, apparently.
That's what they're saying. I mean, is that true? I don't know.
I wonder how many people agree with you. I wonder how many people would take Kevin Durant back and not have LeBron. I wonder.
Who said the whole thing about coaching? I mean, I guess I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, they're both old players, clearly. I think LeBron's got more left in the tank.
And then this stupid question I'm seeing on First Take: did joining the Warriors do KD's legacy more harm than good? Like, how does winning 2 Finals MVPs and 2 championships and going to 3 straight NBA Finals do your legacy harm? Like, this stuff about Kevin Durant, we treat him differently than any other top 15 player ever. Now, some of the Brooklyn undoing was his fault. You got rid of Kenny Atkinson and Steve Nash, and then you and Kyrie on Instagram Live talking about, oh, yeah, we're all the coaches. We coach, you're a coach, this is a coach. And we all knew at that moment, yeah, your days are numbered, Steve Nash. They're numbered.
I don't see, like, and again, we were going all these like hypotheticals and, these, I would call them last grasps at trying to salvage whatever the Warriors' current dynasty thing is, whether we're on the last step of it or it's already dead. I don't even know. I mean, I feel like it's already dead. But like going down the Kevin Durant rabbit hole again, as much as I'm tantalized by it, I love KD. I've always loved KD.
You would do it.
If there were no other options, yeah, I would probably do it. I would.
I would.
But I also realize that it's probably not even anywhere near what it was. It's nowhere near what it was 5 years ago, but it's not anywhere near what it needs to be. Like, I'm watching that Minnesota game last night.
Right.
Minnesota's got a lot of firepower.
They do.
They came up really small.
Yep.
Against Denver. I felt like Denver was playing with them in the whole second half. They had a 10-point lead basically the entire second half. I feel like a KD Steph situation, running it back with lesser parts around them as they're significantly older, still isn't good enough to be in the top 5 of the West.
Now that we agree with.
Okay.
You asked me KD or LeBron. We didn't get to pecking order in the Western Conference. I think you have to get younger. Getting older is not the option. It's not. It doesn't, to me, even bringing in, say you brought in LeBron, and we've had this conversation back and forth, I don't think it's nearly enough. With what I'm seeing in Denver and AG and Jokic and Murray, by the way, can we get the Kevin Harlan call? That sequence before halftime, one of the most insane sequences I've seen in playoff history. That was insane. And Minnesota ends up losing by 8. They give up an 8-0 run in the last 20 seconds of the first half. I don't think any LeBron or KD gets the Warriors any better. I don't. And that's the problem with the Golden State Warriors right now this offseason. Is there any lane for them to move into that tier 1 hierarchy in the Western Conference? Can they move into tier 1?
No.
Can they move to tier 2? Can they move to tier 3? Because right now they're a tier 4, tier 5 team.
The only way that they're dramatically different, and I view them dramatically different, is if they just do away with the Eastern Western Conference and we just have one giant bracket. Because I look at the East, and the East feels so different from the West.
Yep.
It's so different. I mean, Boston was a juggernaut all year. God, do they feel vulnerable, don't they?
But you know what, though? They beat up on the Warriors.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, below them, everything feels up in the air.
And even like Cleveland, right? They smacked the Warriors twice in a 6-day span. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, but do you believe in Cleveland?
I don't, but I watched the way they matched up with the Warriors, and they had their way.
Well, they're going to probably make changes. I mean, doesn't it sound like Donovan Mitchell's angry with the situation there, and the Miami Heat are monitoring him and wanting to bring him in? So, I don't know. I just, to me, the Kevin Durant situation in Phoenix, I do feel the Warriors they're gonna definitely reach out to him.
Why wouldn't they?
The only reason that they wouldn't is because they don't have whatever Phoenix is looking for.
They probably don't, but you have to make the phone call.
What does a package for KD even look like at this point?
How could Phoenix sell that? You're getting multiple picks. But what type of player are you getting?
Kuminga?
Coming back. See, do you really want to trade Kuminga for Kevin Durant?
To get Kevin Durant, you're starting with Kuminga.
You're going to start with Kuminga.
Wiggins and Kuminga?
But
that doesn't feel like enough.
No, it doesn't. No. And then, does KD want to be back here? Does he want to play with the Warriors again? Does he want? If he's going to be playing with Steve Kerr at the Olympics, does he want to play with him and go to state for 82 games
and get back with Draymond?
That's the elephant in the room. Draymond Green, you had some strong opinions about him Friday. I still believe. I'll think about this. Do I still believe Draymond Green could be a factor on a winning team? Yes, I do. I thought he played well on the floor last year. But that was the problem when he was on the floor last year. Problem was he got suspended and he got ejected from multiple games. You miss a quarter of the season and the Warriors miss out on the playoffs or a top 6 seed by 3 games. And how can we not look at Draymond Green? He's podcasting left and right. He's got comments on everything. This is right. He doesn't. I'm not telling anybody to shut up and dribble. Do your thing. But after the last 2 years, what do you do with Draymond Green? What are the Warriors going to do here?
We can all see that they're not a championship contender with him. So to me, process of elimination is you have to make a decision. And to me, it's not even about the player anymore. It's about the stigma of how you view yourself. When you keep Draymond Green, you still believe that we are a championship contender, right. And then every roster decision we make around, Draymond right. has got to fit this championship window and all that. I just don't think that's who you are. And I think that once you finally, and even though you'll still have Steph, barring he wants to stay, I think you'll be able to breathe in the room and make roster decisions and build the roster around Steph Curry and everything else that they have without this guy hanging over your head that has zero tolerance for young right. player mistakes, that has to have the ball at the top of the key even though he's not a threat to shoot, that has to play off ball and really is a small ball 5, but demands that he has to play 4 because you got to play another 5 alongside of him because he's going to wear down and he wants to play the help defense. Like, there's the on-court product and then right. there's the hierarchy right. of the organization, and then there's just oxygen in the room that you right. need. And I feel like he sucks up all the oxygen, metaphorically, and I just need to move on.
So you're ready to move on?
Yes.
I hear you. Change is not always good. And I do believe when you look at this offseason for the Warriors to get back in the championship contention, that's the premise I'm working on, Shasky. Joe Lacob, we know, wants to win championships. He wants to be in the championship business. He wants to contend. What's the closest way to contending for a championship? Right now, my big old gut tells me that taking a couple steps back before you move forward is the best path to get back in the championship contention. Now, are Warrior fans ready for that? I don't think they are. I don't think they are because of Stephen Curry. Because if you have Stephen Curry, you take a couple steps back. You got this superstar, the greatest superstar you've ever had, the best player you've ever had in franchise history, and you take a couple steps back with him, and it looks bad. Now all of a sudden you're gonna get a lot of people saying, "Hey, we got Steph Curry. We didn't maximize the window. How do you win with Stephen Curry?" Now I scoff at that too.
They won 4 championships.
Listen. I scoff at the notion that they didn't maximize the window. I'm with you. I don't buy it. Like when people say they didn't try. When people say Joe Lacob didn't try to win during the year after the pandemic. Well, he traded for Kelly Oubre Jr. the moment they found out Cleveland was going to be out for the year. They pivoted right away, trying to get a starting 2 guard. The Kelly Oubre Jr., guess what? He didn't look bad in Philadelphia. He had a solid season. In Philly. So I just don't know what you do. If you got to go all in. If you're going to go with the rebuild, you got to go all in.
Bonte, you said people aren't ready for them to take a step back. They've taken a step back in consecutive years. They went from championship to fringe playoff team in the 6th spot to not making the playoffs. That is 2 steps back. Literally. The other part is this. I would just ask Warrior fans this. Was last year fun? Did you enjoy the team last year? As like a product, as just a product we're consuming as a product? No. Did you enjoy the season before that? No. I don't think a lot of people didn't enjoy it. Now, were there seminal moments that stick out of enjoyment? Yes, absolutely. Couple more. Last year, it's hard for me to drum up a handful of moments.
I can drum up some. Maybe it's because I'm in it.
Yeah. What are
TJD dunking over Wemby and TJD popping.
Great moment.
Brandon Pajitsky, who went 5-5, have some moments. Had a very stellar rookie season.
Notice how team achievement had nothing to do with that.
Well, yeah, I'm just going down the list here. Team achievement, there wasn't much team achievement.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to the play-in. And you lost to the play-in tournament.
Now, the year prior, I would say...
You won 46 games, but we don't celebrate wins like that anymore around here. After you win 73, you win 67, and you're winning 58, 53, and 67, and 65. We don't celebrate 46 wins. That's just... It is what it is. Those are the standards now. with Steph doing his thing, Klay Thompson averaging 19, moving up the leaderboard in threes alongside Stephen Curry. He has some Jonathan Kuminga, right? It's a great bright spot. CP3, what do you know? CP3 went through a season without any drama.
He's not even going to be here.
I know he's not going to be here. I mean, remember going into the season, it was all, Chris Paul is not going to want to come off the bench. It's going to derail everything. And it wasn't even a story. There's a plethora of other things that was a story. Like Andrew Wiggins, a story for the wrong reason, right? Not playing well. 13 points a game, 12.5 points a game. Yeah, so overall, I don't think nobody's going to throw confetti over in the air because of the way they played. 46 wins.
I just think they've earned equity with the fans to retinker a little, right, and for people to allow whatever their tinkering is or resetting or however you want to phrase it, for it to just kind of like play itself out a little. You know, you got a couple of year runway here, and I think that obviously still having Steph Curry, well, they have him now. We'll see what ends up happening.
If they,
like that's the ultimate.
If they run it back, how will you react if they run it back?
Well, if they run it back, then I understand where they're at. We're just waiting for that thing to run its course.
How's that going to fly with the fans?
I don't think that's exciting. I don't think
it's acceptable at all.
Well, no, I just think if that's what you're doing, then that to me feels like, hey, it's a retirement tour for a couple years.
It's got a little Giants feel to it.
Well, more sexy because people really want to go see the big three play each other. But I mean, if you really want to be better, if that's what you're doing and you really want to be better, well, you're probably going to have a slightly worse draft pick than had you kind of really bottomed out. And we see how this works out. Having the 2 pick as opposed to the 1 pick does matter. You know, having Anthony Edwards would have been a hell of a nice consolation prize.
I don't see the Warriors running it back. You can't do it, but here's the deal too. If they do run it back, that means you're re-signing Klay Thompson. And for Klay, I just know what's going to happen on the show. I know what's going to happen on these airwaves. I know what's going to happen in this market. If the Warriors don't win, for some reason, Klay's going to get. And I don't really care. At the end of the day, who gets to blame or who, that doesn't matter. But we know what the pecking order is. Like Draymond Green, God bless his soul. Jordan Poole ended up getting blamed for getting hit in the jaw. Draymond Green got suspended for 18 games and ejected out of 4 other games, Shasky. And I don't even think he's on the top 3 pecking order in terms of the quote-unquote blame game. Because we go to Klay and Wiggins. Remember the first half of the season was all Klay. All Klay. And he wasn't playing well at all. And I ain't even conceded. It's like, yeah, sure, bring him off the bench. Whatever. I just want to win some games. This is like my theory on the quarterback with the 49ers. I don't care if it's Purdy, Trey, Jimmy, Brandon Allen, Darnold. I just want to win a damn Super Bowl. I want to see a Super Bowl win. I don't care who's playing quarterback. It's kind of the same thing with the Warriors. I don't care who's starting. I don't care who's seeing 30 minutes. I just want to win basketball games.
Yeah, but those guys care.
Their egos do care.
They're big time.
But Klay checked his ego, and he came off the bench, right?
Okay. If we're going to have that realistic conversation, you have to also say he checked his ego after multiple sit-downs with the coach. And his emotion was baked into a lot of the conversation about the Warriors.
He checked it. He
eventually.
checked it eventually. Because my thought process was, well, who's going to start for him? Nobody's playing well enough to start for him. And then Paz started, and then all of a sudden that ran its course, and then, I just don't know. Man, they're in a tough spot. But that's why you need the playoffs to be chaotic. That's why these teams being chaotic, because we were talking about this on Friday, Shasky. There's going to be a team that makes a blunder, that makes the wrong move. And if the Warriors, sometimes it's not about making the right move. Sometimes it's about not making the wrong move, Shasky. Don't make the wrong move. Don't panic. Don't just trade Kuminga for peanuts thinking you're going to just all of a sudden become an instant contender. Wait it out, because I feel like with the Clippers, the Lakers, the Heat, Cleveland, Phoenix, somebody's going to make a blunder. Don't be that team that really hamstrings your franchise for many, many years. Don't make the wrong move. Is what I'm basically getting at here. Don't do anything.
So what's the wrong move? What do you mean by that?
The wrong move is just trading guys just to trade them. to say, hey, we want to see something new, like they did with Jordan Poole.
And that's why I'm frustrated with that trade. They literally just said, we'll take anything for Jordan Poole, and they took something which most people thought was getting bought out, and that's Chris Paul. And then I had to attach a pick to it.
Yep. So just don't make the wrong move.